Peace to the family. This is Free Inhabitant back at you. Today is Sunday, July 23rd, 2017. Once again, this is Free Inhabitant back at you with another new segment. It's been a little bit since I recorded my last video, but this is a new, fresh one. Back up at you. I got my man, my Moorish brother, who's aiding me today, to speak on a few subjects and topics here today. A little touch up on student loan and other related issues and topics here today. But more so, it's about student loan. So without further ado, I'm gonna let my Moorish brother, Free Current, take it away, and he'll explain how we're doing things on our side, how we all, ladies and gentlemen, can eradicate student loan. How do we eradicate the student loan? You come see us, and we'll touch up on it. He'll also touch up on a little bit of the automobile leasing, when you have cars and you're leasing them, how you can also eradicate that debt as well. So without further ado, I'm gonna let my Moorish brother, Free Current, take it away.
Peace, family. Peace, peaceful inhabitants of the land. Peace, my good fellow earthlings. Alright, my name is Free Current. That's what I go by. And this video right here came by way of heavy requests. For quite a number of years, I had loved ones and friends and family asking me, almost even begging me to do a series of videos. So I'm here building with the brother Free Inhabitant, who I give a lot of praise and respect to for his remedies and the things that he's done and doing his part in uplifting fallen humanity. So based on what he's doing and what I've seen him do, it encouraged me to get out here and collaborate with him to do my part in uplifting fallen humanity. And that's mainly what we're here for. So I'd like to thank the brother, Free Inhabitant, and I'd like to thank all of those out here who inspired me to come forth and play my part in furnishing real and tangible, practical remedies for the everyday woman and man.
True indeed.
All right, whether you more or not, we out here to uplift fallen humanity, and humanity cannot be uplifted if humanity is strapped down and oppressed and subjugated into debt slavery.
True indeed.
All right, so on that note, we're gonna open up the chambers and discuss the student loan issue.
Yes, sir.
Now, me myself, what encouraged me to come forth and put together this package was the fact that I myself personally have been a victim of the fraudulent world of student loans. Now, there are millions of people out there just like myself, so I don't consider myself special. I'm just one of the ones who gathered up bravery and courage to make inquiries and to fight, a system that has been intentionally designed to oppress and subjugate us into the realm of false debt obligations. And those false debt obligations have arisen based out of false contractual obligations. So I will say this, I'm going to state and say that we're not here in competition with anyone else, but I have sat back and I have studied other people out here, other groups, other companies who have brought forth their packages or, whatever have you. And I've noticed strengths and I've noticed weaknesses, in these packages. And I respect, the movement, because this is a very wide and broad. This is a very Yeah.
and a broad.
This is a very wide and broad movement. That's the beautiful thing about this. You get a chance to really see how creative, you know, the common man and woman, and even the professionals who've been doing this for many years are. And I like to give respect, you know, before I really proceed on any further too. I like to give respect to all of those, you know, men and women who played a part in this vast movement. And I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to hone in on any one part, but I'm gonna be broad and just say, you know, some people call it the redemption movement, some call it the patriot movement. You know, it's not the redemption, the patriot movement. This is the human freedom movement. Period.
That's right.
You know, I don't care what religion you have or proclaim, what spiritual background you proclaim. If you are about being free and you are about, you know, giving back to humanity, then you with this movement, because that's what this is about right now. We in the Aquarian age, the Aquarian era, where man and even mankind is awakening and reawakening to the reality of what exists out here.
True indeed.
So there was many, you know, there have been many teachers out here who I've studied, you know, I consider studying under. I've read the literature, I've even talked to some people personally, and I decided to be creative and innovate this process in the best way that I could.
True indeed.
Okay. For years, I personally did research. When I got stuck in my jam with this, you know, student so-called loan fiasco, I mean, I desperately looked online. I searched the internet. I made inquiries to people who knew other people to ask about student loan remedy. And unfortunately, nobody out here had a remedy. Nobody out here had anything that was real. Everything was encrypted. If I asked, you know, I made basic inquiry to ask about, you know, offsetting or, you know, counter claiming, you know, whatever false obligation was out there, I always was met with vague language, you know, and it was never anything straightforward. So what it taught me was that there was a void, you know, in this system. There was a void in this, you know, so-called movement, where myself and just really more people needed to come forth with viable remedy, you know, and practical solutions. And I keep mentioning, I guess expressing the word practical, because that's just what type of, you know, man I am. You know, I mean, I can get detailed, you know, with what we do, but at the end of the day, it's about practicality. You got, you know, everyday working women and men who don't have the time, you know, a lot of times to really put forth the effort and the energy and the study time that we have put forth. And believe you me, we have dedicated, or we have allocated many hours, days, months, years of study time.
That's right. We put our due diligence up in this.
And we do very due diligence. So this ain't, you know, I don't want anyone to get this twisted. This is not no patriot video. This ain't no sovereign video. This ain't a sovereign citizen video. This is a freedom video.
That's right.
This is an educational video touching on the basics of contract law. And just for the disclaimer, this is not legal advice, nor am I qualified or claim to give you legal advice. And if you want legal advice, please, by all means, get you a lawyer.
Go seek yourself an attorney and go straight to jail.
Exactly. Please do that. So this is also not banking advice. This is not insurance advice. This is not financial advice. What we're doing right here and what I'm doing is basically having a one-on-one with you and showing you, or at least give my testimony as to what has worked for me.
That's right.
And if it's worked for me, I know it'll work for you.
That's right.
Because my burden was heavy. I was messed up, and I didn't have anyone really but the Most High to come and help me out. So, on that note, I'll say this: there are companies and people out here who have letters and templates for you to fill out, you know, where you could send to these companies and you could challenge these false debt obligations and, you know, false contractual claims. But the problem that I saw with many of these companies and these people out here is that they have not really been touching on the core, the nucleus of what has caused the student loan debt slavery. And when I say loan, please understand or understand or comprehend. When I say loan, that is at all times when I say loan, I want you to think to yourself that it's an alleged loan. Okay, it's a purported loan. It's an erroneously presumed loan. So when I say student loans, I'm really speaking loosely.
That's right.
So
that's the truth.
that's what I want you to pick up and gather from me. So there's been people out here who've been giving you templates to send to these, different companies, whatever. But I really didn't see anything for student loans out here. I didn't really see anything that could really address the seriousness of student loans. I mean, you have credit card debts out here. You have auto loan debt out here. You have payday loan debt out here. You have mortgage debt out here. You have child support debt out here. I mean, the list goes on. I've just named a few. I mean, I've just named a small plethora of the specific types of debt that we have out here. However, the severity of student loan debt is not to be toyed with. It's just my own opinion. This is my own belief, my own opinion. I truly believe that if this student loan debt situation does not, if it's not quelled and if it's not addressed properly by state and federal government, it could possibly lead to another war.
That's right.
Because this type of debt is not like the credit card debt. It's not like the auto loan debt. It's not even like the mortgage debt where things are pretty much fixed. If you have, especially federal loan debt, it's compounding, which means that if you was to pay X amount of dollars on it, then whatever balance is remaining is going to compound. So the supposed debt accrues literally day by day.
That's right.
This is huge. This is not to be taken lightly. I've seen it with my own eyes. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it too. You open up that statement, you like, man, how the heck did I go from owing an alleged amount of 10 grand to owing 20 grand in a matter of a few years? You double. And really, I'm sure some of you can really come forth with testimony saying, hey, mine's triple. So you went from 10 to 20, 20 to 30. You know what I'm saying? Or 40, 50, and 60, depending on how many years you've had your supposed loan in existence. I know people personally right now that are in their 50s right now, still paying back student loans from when they were in their 20s.
True indeed.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right? This is serious.
Yeah.
All right? Because here's the thing. You have a credit system out here. All right? And what student loans does to your credit rating, it diminishes it by increasing your debt to income ratio. All right? Now, this is the problem. Yeah, you know what? You might get you a car. You might get you a house if you're not in default with those student loans. But the issue is this. Have you gotten the best, have you maximized the best deal for that car? Have you maximized the best deal for that house? Have you maximized the best deal even for another student loan from a private so-called lender? You might not have, if with the existence of these student loans, because what it's doing is, I mean, you might make 50, 60, 75, 80, 90, even 100K a year, but that doesn't matter. People are thinking that the debt to income ratio is mostly affected by your occupation, and it's not. It's affected by your debt to available credit ratio. You feel me? So this is major right here, So what I did, with my own personal student loan situation is I did attempt, various remedies, and I'm gonna say this right here. You have a lot of creative people out here, and I do respect the creativity. However, many of us have been improperly educated, and we have been taught some very corrupt and degenerate ideas with regard to countering false contract obligations and false debt obligations.
True indeed.
You know, my greatest remedy came. My greatest remedy emerged from me going back into looking at the old-fashioned way of approaching any of these false obligations. I mean, and it was huge for me because I watched so many videos. I mean, if there was a video on it, believe you me, I watched it. If there was a book on it, believe you me, I read a lot of it. You know, I looked I went around, I looked a lot. And what I noticed was that there was no one out there really being practical enough with the old remedies. The old remedies really come out of the ecclesiastical dimensions. It comes out of, you know, and I'm not here with you religiously telling you right now what to believe, whatever. But I will say this: whether you are into religion or not, it does not matter. This system is based out of religious law. When I say ecclesiastical, that's really more of a generic term because it could be any religion. It could be your Islamic religion. It could be your Judaic religion. It could be your Christian religion. I mean, you could be a Buddhist. Whatever it is, these laws that support this current system are rooted in ecclesiastical religious law and spiritual laws, natural law.
Correct.
So with that being said, I had to come out of the exhaustive world of what I call a utopic remedy, where you're chasing remedy. I mean, how many of you have sent what many authorities, state and federal authorities, have called bogus instruments to discharge your supposed debt obligations? I mean, yeah, I'm sure a lot of you have done that, and I'm sure a lot of you are still doing it. However, to briefly touch on that subject, the problem with sending in instruments to counter or to eradicate false obligations is that when you send in an instrument to so-called wipe out a debt obligation without addressing the fact that the supposed contract, which is the source of that obligation, is fictitious and is non-existent, you are giving credence to that entity's false claims against you. You understand what I'm saying? So I personally had to go through the trial and tribulation of experimenting with different variables. And I'm telling you right now, I mean, there's some out there who did, there's some out there who did do, promissory notes. You might have done, the private instruments. It's so many on that. I'll let you figure out what those are. But I will say that they're not as effective as the old-fashioned remedies, which are, number one, due notice. Okay? You can write that down. Due notice. Number two, affidavit in support of due notice. All right? And guess what? It is that simple. I promise you it's that simple. Due notice, affidavit in support of due notice. Those are your main remedies when it comes to effectively countering these false debt obligations, which stem from false and erroneously presumed false contractual obligations. Now, to understand or to comprehend how to obtain remedy from these false contractual obligations, essentially you have to come to be educated on and comprehend what the essential elements which compose a contract are. That's essential. And that right there, I'm so happy to be able to share this with you. But that right there was the climax of my journey. Before I even felt comfortable with the remedy that I was applying, I tried so much, man. It didn't work. But when I settled down and I became simpler about things, when I became more practical about things, man, I started seeing, oh, wait a minute. Nah, this stuff is working. Silence is acquiescence. Okay, touch on that right there. That's one of the main building blocks of this process right here. Silence is acquiescence. Now, silence can only be acquiescence if there is an obligation that has been pressed upon the other side to respond to you in good faith and with clean hands and with full disclosure.
That's right. That's
Now, you got many out here who teach that silence is acquiescence, silence is acquiescence. Well, based upon my research and my own studying, it doesn't apply all the time. If you have an entity that you are interacting with and you guys have never done business before, you have never transacted with each other, you cannot sit here and tell me that based upon their silence, whatever stipulations, terms and conditions that you have obligated upon them will stand and be enforceable in the court of law. Because chances are it won't stick and it won't fly. You have to have a previous dealing with that entity to be able to apply that ancient maxim.
correct. Intercourse or interaction with them.
Exactly. And that's major. That's a key building block in comprehending this process. You have to comprehend that their silence is only uncalled for, and is only illegal and unlawful when they have a duty to respond to you and they have decided to ignore you on material facts and essential terms and conditions of the alleged contract. And I do really hope that you are following me what I'm saying right now. The 6 elements of a contract that I have studied are legal parties who are legally competent to enter a contract, offer and acceptance, number 3, number 4, mutuality of obligation, meeting of the minds, number 5, an instrument, something physical or even nowadays even electronic, which we call electronic paper chattel. So you have paper chattel and you have electronic paper chattel, which is governed under the Uniform Commercial Code in its respective Article 9, the authoritative copy. Okay? And lastly, you have the contract, which must have been formed for a legal purpose and lawful purpose. Now, without those essential building blocks of that contract, you do not have a contract. Oh, I'm sorry, and one more I forgot too. You have to have, oh my God, how could I have forgotten this one? You have to have sufficient consideration.
Yeah.
That's major. Now that's major. Sufficient consideration. You can look this up online. You can get a business dictionary. You can get a business law book. You can get a contract book. You must have sufficient consideration to have been delivered to you by the so-called lender. The purported lender must have delivered to you sufficient consideration in order for them to have a binding, legally and lawfully binding and enforceable obligation against you. Man, a lot of us don't get that. We're not seeing that right there. I mean, and it's funny because these same concepts right here also can be applied to every single debt situation or alleged debt situation. These same principles can be applied to every purported contractual situation. Now, what must be communicated in this video, excuse me, is the fact that most of the purported contracts that we enter with other entities are what's classified as unilateral contracts. Okay? Now, that's most of them. So a lot of us, I was online for years and I've studied in different study groups and I've, seen other people come back with material from their seminars, whatever, saying that, okay, well, the contract didn't have 2 people making a promise to each other, so it's not legit. Nah, that's not how it flies out here. Because you can go into other countries and look at their contract law. I mean, if you want to come equivalent to the law that's applied to the U.S., look at the U.K. And under the UK, you have India coming up under there. You have New Zealand coming up under there. You have Australia coming up under there. You have London coming up under there. You have Canada coming up under there. And little do most people even know, a lot of the UK principles also stick with the US. They're not gonna tell you that. That's added right there.
True story.
You know,
all banking.
It's all
the
banking.
same.
And banking is universal.
Yep.
Banking is global. Banking is domestic and it's global. So a lot of times when I'm looking at contract law, and, you know, when I first began as a neophyte, I did kind of shy away from looking at the UK's material because I was like, well, the UK don't have nothing to do with here. I didn't know any better. The UK has everything to do with the US. And when I say US, I'm referring to corporate.
That's right.
You know, I'm referring to the corporate construct. You know, and I won't go into all of that right there. That's for another conversation. But it's very important for you to comprehend the basic contract elements. Now, when you're going out there and you're studying, you will see some slight variance. But those elements that I just mentioned to you earlier, those are fundamental, especially offer and acceptance and sufficient consideration and legal capacity, which can be used in the case of your birth certificate, but that's a whole nother conversation. But definitely offer, acceptance, and sufficient consideration and an instrument. And when I say instrument, I'm referring to the paper chattel or the electronic paper chattel, which alleges to bear your signature. Now, that's another legal term, or an important term that's that's paramount to consider for a person to. And when I say person, I'm speaking loosely. I'm saying human or
commonly.
Yeah, commonly. Yeah. Commonly used. We're not using legal. We're not using words of art here in this video. So when I say person, I do mean a man or woman. When you sign in a piece of paper, or when you sign an electronic paper chattel, when you sign it, generally it's observed that that's an indication of your acceptance of terms that have been given to you. So you cannot accept a term if you have no knowledge of it. So in order for you to accept the term, you had to have been given full disclosure of that term and condition, material fact, and essential term. You understand what I'm saying? You have to have that. These are critical in determining if a contract is enforceable or not. Now, this material right here is the real deal. This is not the, oh, well, I didn't really study and come to know what a contract is, what a contract was, and I'm just going to send it forth for instrument and hope that they discharge my debt obligation. That's not, no. I'm going to tell you like this. If you want that type of life and if you want that laziness, you can go to somebody else. You can go to somewhere else and try whatever remedies you can with them. This is not that type of party right here. This is not that dimension right here. We are about real remedy. And with you obtaining real remedy, you have to take it back to natural law. You got to take it back to the fundamental laws which even built the current system, commercial system that we operate upon right now. Because believe it or not, the commercial system that we operate upon right now is built on very ancient law. The ancient civilizations did not operate on laws much differently than we have right now. It's just that the current merchant law or uniform commercial code and the subsequent and the laws up under it have been misconstrued a little bit with just legal statutes. But the legal statutes have to be concurrent with law. Now, what is legal is not necessarily what is always lawful. So what we like to focus on is what is legal and lawful. It's legal for you to have a contract out there with a false debt obligation. That's legal. I mean, and if you don't believe me, you could take it. I guess if you old enough and you remember, you could take it back to 2008 and look at how many innocent families got their homes foreclosed upon. And when they question where the promissory note was with the supposedly attached mortgage and the deed of trust, guess what? The banks couldn't provide that.
That's right.
There was some families who did obtain remedy, but there's a great many families who had their homes criminally confiscated. This is real. I mean, I personally know people who I had to help who were targets. You know? So, like I said, it's important. Once again, current flowing right past me all day long. It's important for us to be educated on contractual elements, because the contractual elements is what drives this economy. This economy runs on a current. A lot of us out here are under the false concept or erroneous education that only gold and silver is money out here. No, only gold and silver. Gold and silver was, by Article 1, Section 10, was the prescribed money for this economy. However, we have fallen into a debt-based economy. And under this debt-based economy, there are currencies out here that go beyond gold and silver, which are considered legitimate. And I mean, you could, I'm not gonna go into the philosophy of that. You might not agree with me, you might want to fight me on it, but I'm just saying, look in your pocket and see if you can see that you have Federal Reserve notes, you know, in your pocket. In your pocket. If you have Federal Reserve notes in your pocket, that right there is a debt obligation. All right? So you're passing around, and now let me say that too. The Uniform Commercial Code has redefined money. All right? So when we say currency, yes, by ecclesiastical and even by natural law, the natural current would be gold and silver. But in this commercial-based system, which is debt-based, that we live in, that we are subjected under now, it is commercial instruments. It is paper chattel instruments that purport to hold obligations against estates that is considered to be money, and in turn considered to be currency. All right. So these are fundamental concepts that you have to become educated on if you're not already, and you have to come to comprehend, because they are the basis of this set that we put together. The set that we put together is based on the old-fashioned elements of due notice, you know, and not just a notice, but a continuous amount of them, where you can show, you have a track record to show and exhibit that you've given the other party a chance to respond to you. You know, now if the other side is saying to you, hey, look, we have an obligation against you, we have a contract with you. Well, guess what? A lot of you have been taking your own valuable energy, and you've been working as employees for these other people by disproving their allegations against you. And you always need to stick with that language. These people are making allegations against you. It doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean it's false. They're obligations because they have yet to be proven. They're just allegations. Somebody is making a presumption against you. So what must you do? What you must do is you must formulate notice. And in your notice, you have to master your notice. You have to ask questions. You have to ask them to produce whatever records is necessary in disproving, or prove. You have to ask them, you have to request or command whatever records are necessary for them to substantiate and support their claim. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Too many of us have an employee mentality. We want to have somebody call us on the phone or sending us something in the mail saying, hey, look, you know, well, you owe me some money, so you got to pay me by X amount of date. By X date. Well, how about this? How about you take that notice? How about you learn to examine it if you don't already? Learn to examine the notice and look for inconsistencies. Look for things that are not true. First of all, when you look at that notice that they sent you, it's written to a person with an all capital name. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I went to grammar school and we were taught how to properly write a name or a proper name, especially under their common law, it was in upper and lowercase letters. It was spelled with what your mother and your father gave you, or your mother or your father gave you, and it was stylized in upper and lowercase letters. However, when you go to your statement, you're going to see that the name that they're calling for in there is written in all capital letters. So there's something wrong here. They're not sending the notice to the flesh and blood you. They're sending it to an estate which they purport that they have information that you serve as a surety or a guarantor for. Now, I can't say whether or not you're a surety or guarantor because that's a decision that you have to make. But me personally, I'm not a surety or a guarantor for none of the claims that come against, the estate that purports to be me. That's an erroneous presumption. You only got a misconcept that I'm obligated legally and lawfully to fulfill the desires of the so-called lenders that have levied illegal and unlawful claims against the estate. You feel me? That I am purported to be acting on behalf for and of. All right. So these are major issues that I came across when dealing with the burden of student loans. Most of us I saw did not understand how this stuff was set up. These people are sending you statements in the mail every month. Now I will say this. This I had to learn from looking at credit card cases. And the credit card, this is major. I want you to really pay attention to this one right here. Please pay attention to this one right here. When you are getting notices in the mail, all right, they're not just notices. I'm gonna break this down. When you get notices in the mail from that loan servicer, the student loan servicer, they are sending you unverified statements. They are sending you unverified invoices. They are sending you unverified statements of account. They are sending you unverified bills. They are sending you unverified bills of exchange. And these are, by the way, monetizable and they can be securitized. Right? So get that concept right there. When you get a statement in the mail, you must either accept it and pay for it in full. Don't ask any questions. You can reject it and not even contact the so-called lender. Now, if you reject it and you don't contact the so-called lender and pose any questions or raise a dispute, what they call a dispute, then that means that you have acted dishonorably. You never, ever, ever want to behave dishonorably. You always want to carry yourself with the highest honor possible in commerce. You will win that way. The next option that you have when you get that statement, that invoice, bill of exchange, is that you can accept it upon certain conditions being met. You can do that. Now, I like that the most out of everything. Because when you accept the statement based upon certain conditions being met, now what you do is you come back into power. You come back into power now, You come back into power now by turning the tables on the one who sent you the notice or the supposed lender, the supposed creditor, the supposed obligee, the supposed payee. They're the ones sending you this statement. They're saying, hey, you owe me $10,000. You're like, okay, you know what? Well, how about this? I see what you have here. You're saying that, I've been delinquent on payments. I missed payments. You even claim that I've defaulted on the payment. How about this? How about I conditionally accept your presentment, your demand, your invoice, your bill of exchange, your statement of account. And I'm really taking my time to mention all of these different words because the species of what they're sending you in the mail is all of these things. They're not going to teach you this in college. They're not going to teach you this. A lot of times, they're not going to really teach you this in business school. Even as a lawyer, a lot of times they're going to skim right over and you're not going to be taught. That's just what it is. You got to learn this stuff on your own, or you got to have others around you who put in the time and the effort to study this material that affects our lives. You have to learn how to read a statement. You have to learn how to read and interpret a presentment. This is critical in the process. When they send you a bill, anybody, when I say they, I'm being very general here. It could be student loans, it could be your auto lease. It could be for your auto lease. It could be your auto loan. It could be for your mortgage. It could be for a payday loan. It could be the IRS. Anything. Whenever you get a presentment in the mail, you must learn how to read it the same way you've come to learn how to read. Some of you have come to learn how to read a credit report. And those credit reports, man, I gotta be honest, they're intricate. You know, they're intricate. And at times, reading a statement can be intricate, and sometimes it can be simple. But nonetheless, you have to put forth some kind of energy and effort into learning the basics, at least, of of reading a presentment statement and translating and interpreting it. What does this mean? What does this top portion or bottom portion of this thing that I've gotten in the mail mean? What does this invoice statement mean? Why do I have this detachable part attached to this invoice? What does this mean? These are very critical in determining whether or not the supposed lender or creditor has a binding and enforceable claim against you, which they can bring to a court of law and obtain remedy and relief against you. Because that's what's going on right now with student loans. Some of you out here who watch this video, unfortunately, you're having your wages garnished. Some of you, unfortunately, are having your income taxes returns taken and confiscated to satisfy the claims of these purported lenders and creditors. And it's unfortunate, you know, and it's sad. It's sad because, I mean, you have people out here who are going for undergrad degrees, master's degrees, and even PhDs, but yet they don't even know how to defend themselves when it comes to just handling their affairs. And this is happening monthly. Monthly, you getting invoices coming in the mail saying, hey, you got to pay us. And if you look at that student loan debt, it's escalating rapidly. It's compounding rapidly. Some of you might have started out with owing only 10 grand some years ago. You looking at your statements now, they looking like 40, 50 grand. 50 and 60 racks mounted up against you. And a lot of you have given up. A lot of you have just, I mean, I saw a story here online. I saw a story on the news where there was a man who was engaged to his fiance. He had to tell her that he couldn't even marry her. He had to tell her that he could not even marry her because the debt obligations that were mounted against him forced him to not even be able to qualify for an apartment. All right, this is serious, man. You have people's lives being destroyed out here based upon their ignorance and not knowing how to conduct themselves properly in this commercial arena. This man had to cut off his marriage with his fiance. I mean, I saw the video and this grown man cried on the video. This is a grown man crying because he could not be what he wanted to be for his fiance. This is serious, y'all. I mean, this is serious. This situation right now, it transcends race. It transcends just one specific class level. You have people of all different type of backgrounds and occupations being affected by this situation right here. And this is why we did this video, because it's time for someone or someone's in a group to come out and address obtaining viable remedy against those who have it in their best intentions to make you a slave, bound by the heaviest iron ball that they can find out here, where you won't be able to achieve a prosperous or even a happy life. And this is what the Constitution of this country guarantees and secures for those who know how to, and for those, first of all, for those who will claim it and those who will be brave enough and courageous enough to enforce it. You understand what I'm saying? So going back to what I said, we have to learn, all of us, myself included, I have to further learn how to interpret these presentments that are coming in the mail and how to effectively counteract them. And that's what we have been successful with doing. You know, I got some people that I've assisted and they're good. Me, myself, I'm good. You know, I don't have to worry about a loan servicer coming to me saying, hey, you know, we are bringing you into court for this. And if they did, I know how to conduct myself with that too. Because for you to have an enforceable claim against me in any court of law, you have to have standing to sue. You have to come forth with a contract or contracts showing where I have knowingly and willingly signed that instrument and after being given full disclosure of the material and essential terms and conditions.
So Free Current, right, briefly explain to the family how, if anyone needs, any help on any issues that they dealing with, student loans, briefly just touch on the base that what we offer, to, bringing remedy and closure to that student loan, because we do that very curricularly with eradicating that debt.
Yeah, no doubt. As far as the student loans, we have engineered a set that is based upon the concepts and principles that we've gone over in this video. And personally, like I said, I've tried fancy concepts, but I'm out of that because it doesn't address the core of the matter, which is countering the other side's claim. Or compelling them to support their claim. And so that's what this set has done. This set comes in various parts. So you don't just, send the servicer one letter or one notice saying, hey, I need for you to, I don't owe you. I'm not going to pay you. I need for you to provide this. No, what we're doing is we're operating in a series of counter presentments where we compel the supposed lender and their servicer to furnish essential business records needed to be able to support their claim. And what we're doing is we're making sure that we are operating honorably by bonding our word. You know what I'm saying? So I don't believe in just sending a notice. You need to have something supporting what you are saying in your notice, and you need to have an instrument that's backing what it is the principle that you are standing upon in your notice. So you need an affidavit, or you need some other form of verification that will support that notice.
So Free Current, if any of the family out there, all the ones that's dealing with any student loan issues, they owing these alleged big debts, if they're coming at you with a specific donation, will you be taking partial payments? Can they do partial payments for help? Would you take half for in order for them to help, or will you be willing to accept donations for them to be able to fully have you bring forth complete help, with eradicating the student loan?
Yes, we do accept, donations for those out there who are interested in this program. And we will definitely be posting, what you can donate, to aid in what we're doing.
Okay, that's
definitely good. And we've sat down and we've devised a plan to accommodate, people of diverse economic situations, who might come to us for us to be able to, be of assistance and uplifting them from, servitude.
Okay, and we'll have that listed here in this video in the description box, so that all who wishes to get in contact with Free Current and Free Inhabitant for the assistance of student loan. And before we take this video out, Free Current, can you just briefly speak on the little issues on when people have automobiles that they've leased and they've taken on a lot of debt on that leased car? how we also show them how to eradicate. We take on eradicating the debt off of leased cars as well. Explain briefly us to a little bit about that.
All right, no doubt. Yeah, as far as the leasing program that we've innovated, that was devised based upon the fact that there is an increasing number of people out here who are no longer purchasing vehicles. They're deciding to lease instead because leasing is more more efficient economically to lease, and the payments a lot of times are even lower per month. And especially if you have a good credit, it's especially good for you. And as a matter of fact, if you talk to dealers who will be straightforward with you, like I've had some dealers, talk to me and educate me. He actually showed me where having a lease saves you more than you having a purchase. So a lot of consumers out there, have decided to go the leasing route. However, what made me shy away from a lease in previous years is the fact that when purchasing was more of the route that people took, the few that I did know who were leasing, I didn't like the situations that they found themselves in. I knew people who had leases and they were always stressing about, well, I gotta watch my mileage. I gotta watch what I do with this vehicle, because if I turn it in, with X amount of miles on it, this is not what was allotted to me, in the lease agreement or the contract, so I'm gonna be penalized for that. So, naturally, and these concerns were and they are legitimate. No one wants to turn in a lease where you intended to save, money, but you end up coming out, more out of your pocket than what you intended to spend. So what we've done is to address the leasing issue and the stress related to those transactions with an auto lease. We sat down and was able to devise a plan where you could get a lease and you could live comfortably in that lease for whatever period of time that you want to have it. Most leases are 3 years. You have some people who do leave the lease early, even without paying penalties based upon whatever offer might be made from, the auto lease, leasing company. With this package that, a set that we put together, it allows you to be able to get into a lease and, well, first I'll say this: the set was put together at first to deal with lease end situations. So if you was in a lease and let's say you went over your mileage, let's say you have children and your children messed up the seats in the car or whatever, or you used to live a very active lifestyle, so you didn't mean to get certain spills in the seat, or let's say you got cigarette burns in the seat, you might even have blunt burns in the seat, whatever. These things have been done, and when the dealer gets back or the leasing company gets back their car, they're like, hey, wait a minute, that wasn't, you have excessive wear and tear now on our property, so we're going to bill you for this. Now you might get the bill with excess mileage or excess wear and tear, and excess mileage is considered wear and tear. You might see that bill might be 500, it might be 1,000, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,000. It all depends, on your situation. Yeah, and still, I'm sure you did not intend to get that lease and open up your mail and see, oh my God, I have a $2, $3, $4, $5,000 debt that I have to pay now.
That's a big debt that the consumer has to bear the brunt.
That's huge.
That's huge.
That's huge. Now, with this leasing program, it's not limited to a specific vehicle or type of vehicle. It works with cars. It works with trucks. It works with
So tell the family. Suppose they wanted to go out there. They lived a high active lifestyle, and one of the brothers or sisters wanted to go lease them a Lamborghini. It doesn't stop this program from being able to successfully be able to move the process, will it?
You asked me the right question. Yeah, and that's what I was saying was like, this program is universal. I don't care if you have a Honda. I don't care if you have a Fiat. I don't care if you have, you could have a motorcycle. You can have a Lamborghini, you can have a Maserati, you can have a Tesla. You know, and I'm throwing these, I'm throwing these out here because I want you to really open your mind to where I'm going with this program. This program was designed so that you could be able to live a more active lifestyle in your lease if you have not done that, or if you've been wanting to and desiring to do that, but have been afraid of incurring too much of a debt liability. So what this program does, it allows you to be able to enter a lease without even having to accept the auto leasing company's insurance. Because, I mean, I'll just say this. I'm not going to say which specific dealer that I've gone to more recently and gotten a lease from, but I'll say it like this. This is considered like middle class, not really low end, but it's pretty like mid class, a mid class sedan. And you already know where I'm going with that. Mm-hmm. So with this company, they're telling me that their rims on the car, and these were rinky-dink factories, they want me to pay $800 something for each rim if I scratch it. All right. Now, I don't know, for those of us out here who live in dense urban environments, let's just say you live in New York City, for example. You live in the boroughs. Now, you already know what that's looking like right there. I mean, you parallel parking, you know? And what about when the snows come in? What about when the snows come in? You know, you having to move your car so frequently. You know, you're in a dense urban environment where you have other drivers around you, you know, and you're putting wear and tear on the car. Let's just say you in a grocery store one day and you go into the grocery store to go shopping. You come out, you got somebody that rammed a shopping cart into your Maserati, into your Range Rover, into your Honda, into the car that you have leased. Now, if you don't have insurance to cover any dent or dings that might have been put been put onto that car or that truck or van, you're gonna have to pay for that. You know, well, I mean, let's just say worst case scenario. Let's say hit and run. Okay, you might have auto insurance to cover that. Your auto insurance might cover the hit and run, but for all the other excessive wear and tear, it can really add up. Okay, so I'll just give you another scenario if you're not really understanding where this program is going, what it's built for. Let's just say I got me a Range Rover. I leased me a Range Rover, all right? So I'm paying my lease every month. But I'm like, I went to the program and I'm like, man, I got this program, but they only give me 12,000 miles a year on the car, on the SUV, or even 10,000, because a lot of companies, they do 10,000. They'll start you over 10,000 and let you pay to get 12 and 15 or even higher. But if you can't even, a lot of us are living above our means. Let's just be honest. So you got a Range Rover and you got the most basic package that you can get in order to even just say, hey, look, man, I got me a Range. I copped the Range. But you can't afford to pay what was necessary to offset the liability that might be coming against you at the end of that lease, or when you turn in that lease. So let's just say you got 10,000 miles allotted to you every year for that lease. You're gonna have that Range for 3 years. All right, let's just say you got relatives out of state. Let's just say you got parties you want to go to out of state. You feel me? Let's just say your mate or your girlfriend or boyfriend, or your uncle or your mom and dad live out of state, and you like to go visit them. They don't live in the same city you live in, or they might even live in the same state you're in. But if you're living in Cali or even Texas, man, come on, you do the math, do top to bottom for that state.
A lot of miles,
man. If you want to go from the top of Cali to the bottom, bro, I mean, you traveling down the eastern seaboard of the United States of America. That's a very, very extensive trip. So if you're doing trips like that on a frequent basis, your miles are going to rack up very quickly. So let's just say you got the truck, and in previous years or whatever, previous times, you got the lease and you were scared to go over your miles. So now what it's doing is it's limiting you and being able to fully enjoy that lease.
That's right.
And that's what this program has been designed to offset. It's been designed to open up a doorway for you to learn how to be able to enjoy your lease. If you want to go camping with your leased vehicle, if you want to go travel across the country, you can do these things. Because what's going to happen, at the end of your lease is you're going to be presented with a bill, an invoice, a bill of exchange, a statement of account. And they're going to say, hey, you went way over your miles. We didn't give you this many miles. They might stick you with 5, 6, 7,000. You might get stuck with 3, 2,000, even a $1,500 supposed debt obligation. Well, you apply the same principle to that situation that you would in any contractual situation or assumed contractual situation. You have to, when they send you a presentment, you got to be able to effectively address the erroneous presumption that there's a debt obligation that you owe. I'm not telling you to go out here and not pay your bills. This is not the type of program. You don't go out here and not pay your lawful debt obligations, your lawful bills. But when someone presents you with an invoice or a bill of exchange, statement of account, and they won't support it with verified business records, and I'm going to say that again, verified, 1/5 time, verified. When you come into court, you cannot even enter the court without entering verified records into that court case. Learn what verification is, because this is what you must demand from this leasing company. All right? Now, I'm sure, Free and Happiness has done many videos educating, the crowd and the audience on, what these, supposed debt obligations are. It's no different with a lease. When you sign that lease agreement or allegedly sign a lease agreement, that leasing a paper chattel or instrument is monetized. It's securitized. They're eating. They're getting their bread. Believe you me. Really, to be honest with you, technically, if you never even paid on the lease, it's taken care of. It's already paid.
It's still paid.
It's already paid. I don't care if that lease was for 3 years and the value of the lease was for 75 grand. For 80 grand, it doesn't matter. The moment you put your signature on that leasing instrument,
no loss.
The so-called debt obligation is satisfied at that table.
Correct.
I promise you.
That's right.
I promise you. Now, it might sound kind of spooky or animated, cartoony to some people, but I'm giving you straight facts right now.
True story.
And I know this firsthand. I've been out here, along with, Free and Happiness. He's been doing his thing. We've been navigating. I can tell you for a fact, these people playing games. They are playing games with you. So you have to learn these concepts and use these concepts to offset false obligations against you. You have a lease agreement. You get you come to the end of the lease, you got your next lease, but you get the lease, the invoice from the old lease saying, hey, you know what, Mr. Whatever or Miss So-and-so, you got to pay us $5,000. Because you got excessive wear and tear in the car. You got some scrapes on the rims. You got a fender bender that looks like you gotten into. You got some cracks in your windshield.
Little kid done wrote ink all on the seats.
Yeah, your kid done. Your children. Your children they took markers and marked up your seats.
Yep.
It's crayon marks in the seats. Kool-Aid spills, soda spills all on the seats to the floor. G.I. Joe done melted down into the car based on the summertime heat. If you live in New Mexico, Arizona, and Texas, you know where I'm coming from with that. Even, Cali, whatever, you know where I'm coming from. So, the possibilities are almost endless when it comes to excessive wear and tear and what constitutes that with your lease. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter. You will be stuck with the obligation and you have to do something about it. I'm sure a lot of you out there who are watching this in the audience know where I'm coming from with these leases. You've been stuck with bills that you probably have right now. You're like, oh my God, I got a bill right now. And if you got a bill right now, then you came to the right place. You come to the right people to be able to
eradicate that debt.
Eradicating the false obligation.
That's right.
So like I said, this program is taking on 2 different levels. If you come out of your lease and you have what purports to be an obligation that you have to take care of, we have you. We got you, okay? If you have a situation where you are looking at getting into a lease, but you don't want to pay for the insurance program, you will be able to bypass that. This is in a strange way, in a weird way, this is like having your own self-designed insurance program. because whatever obligations you end up at the end of that lease, you'll be able to offset those obligations with this particular program in this set right here. So I hope that, you know, I was very clear and practical at explaining, you know, what this program was designed, these two programs were designed for and what they are designed for. And if we have not been clear enough, then perhaps, you know, you can email us to get, you know, just, you know, basic clarity, you know, nothing too extensive, but just basic clarity on what type of program this is and what it's been designed to do, you know.
So that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. There you have it. You have Brother Moore, Free Current. He came out and graced the platform to let y'all know what we're doing on our side. If there's anybody out there that has student loans, I don't care if you owe 50,000. I don't care if you owe 100,000. I don't care if you owe 300,000. I don't care if you owe $1 billion.
Doesn't matter.
You want it eradicated. You want it taken care of. This is the place to be. Again, about those leasing cars, those auto cars that are leased, those cars out there that are leased. This is the place to be at. You come see us. There it is again. You got the Brother Moore, free inhabitant, Brother Moore, Free Current. Look, he graced you with the truth.
Thanks.
And this is what it is right here. Y'all want these eradicate these debts right here. Look, these packages right here are graceful right now. You know who to come see.
And you know what? And I'm going to interrupt you. And he's very serious when he says that. I mean, I don't care if you owe. I don't care if it's purported that you owe $1. It doesn't matter. You could take the amount to $1 trillion. I'm serious when I'm saying this. See, we don't get caught up on amounts.
Correct.
Of an alleged obligation. We look at the principle of it, and the principle is universal. So that's why I say, you know, that it's important that you have some kind of basic fundamental understanding or comprehension of the way the ancient law worked out here in the system and how it operates today, because it's all principle based. You know what I mean? If it could be a penny, a million, it doesn't matter. It could be $1, it could be $10, it could be 100, it could be 100,000, it could be 10,000. It could be $1 billion. It doesn't matter at all. It's all the same.
So being that said, fellas, ladies, family, being that said, we're gonna break this video out. We're gonna end this, you know, just to let you know all the information you might need or want. You need to get in contact with us, you know, on any student loans. Again, dealing with the leasing process, packages.